Beep boop beep beep boop beep beep boop beep beep boop beep beep. Oh, we're live. Hello. Oh no, and then the other computer went out. It's just a calamity of shit shows, darling. Hi, Facebook Live. Welcome to a special edition, a special Facebook Live edition slash open mic live with yours truly, Mike. And funny enough, incidentally enough, we appear to be closing blah 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 approaching closing time at the library, being the Columbus Metropolitan Library, the main branch on 100 South Grant Street in Columbus, Ohio, USA. Let's see. Well, it is what's the day? What's the day, dear?
Oh no, I ain't got to watch.
Oh, you don't need to watch, my baby. You just need a calendrier. Schedule.
Wednesday, I guess is what it says.
Wednesday, it is hump day, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Hump day.
And dry the board.
Hump day on the 10th of Wednesday, the 10th of September, 2025. AD. Oh no. Let's see. We have my cheater computer here. This is what can you imagine back in the 70s? Each one of these little things cost a refrigerator. Imagine me trying to maneuver those around like I am with these trusty little laptops. Mm. It's a fine future we live in, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. You just gotta know how to embrace it. There we go. God damn it. That was a technical moment up. That was a long and painful technical moment. That was a technical fuck up. That's many moments integrated in time, in painful time, time after time. That would be a good song to use to explain integration functions to the kids, I think. Time after time after time after time after time after, you
Mine
know.
sounds better.
Well, there we go. See, functions come in all shapes and sizes. The key is to remember, though, in an integration function, what? I haven't thought this far ahead, and Lord knows, it's been a long time since Mama's been in the calculus 2 class. Digressing. What are we talking? Oh, artificial intelligence. Yeah, yes. Artificial intelligence. That is the hot subject these days, what you say. AI? Not Ai Weiwei, as the artificial intelligence incorrectly suggested for me, by the way. Speaking of AI. Mm-hmm. Now, I think the term is completely meaningless these days, don't you think, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? What is artificial intelligence? What does that mean to you? First of all, what is intelligence? Can we come to a, let's come to a definition of intelligence and then add to the colors of intelligence, artificial sweeteners and beyond to make it artificial intelligence. No, but I'm serious. I posed that question to the class. And since I gave y'all 15 minutes of warning before Mama started handing out assignments, I'll give you some time to think. What is artificial intelligence? How do we get there? How do we get to a definition, let alone feeling like we achieved something in it, in this thing, right? While I pose the Jeopardy music, uh, Mama's gonna shake it out for a moment. Whew. Yes. All right, we're back. That wasn't even a technical moment. That was just a mama needing to get a cigarette mentally moment. Uh, well, speaking of which, où est le vaporisateur? Le vaporisateur de Michel Georges pour le moment avec nous, avec vous,
Avec moi?
oui, avec vous, avec toi, avec tout le monde. Et cher. Yes, I mean share, not share, my dear, or share
Why
really good,
not?
my dear.
Small
I would be
time.
a very lucky man, but we all know how lucky is sunny. Think I see me.
You get a break.
They all did. according to the
You need a treat.
the coroner's reports. But then you start asking yourself, who's the coroner in this town? Why does he hate trees so much? Oh, back to the topic of artificial intelligence. Now, I don't want to pose a definition since y'all been quiet. Maybe I just haven't. Maybe my intelligence hasn't gathered me any intel. Just use the same word twice in the same sentence and nobody even noticed. Intel and intelligence are the same word, just artificial. So, intelligence, intelligent girl. Oh, we have a comment. Or is it my own comment that I didn't even know I left
That's
myself?
where intelligence comes in.
Oh my lord, I'm even more intelligent than I realized, ladies and gentlemen, because I have a bot working on my behalf to post a comment that I did not consent to. It's okay. It makes assumptions. Lord knows we all do, and sometimes they just burn our asses around. So, insert cliche about what do we say, class? When you assume, you make an out of and assume. So try not to assume, but we all do because we're lazy and frankly, we don't got time to be, checking all the receipts on every goddamn thing and moment in the universe, right? So naturally, let's not feel ashamed about it. Mama's only got so many purses for so many receipts and so many hands to go through. So, make sure to save the Popeyes receipts though. Those are, anyway, it's just a mental note for my future self who would be the only one watching this in the future of video performance and engagement. AI, artificial intelligence. Oh, plus, but that would include the very artificial competence of me keeping this computer logged in, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. So Mama needs to clear up this little mess while the intelligent ones in the room figure out what isn't artificial about themselves.
Nothing all mine, all natural.
All natural. Okay, so what's natural and what's artificial? Let's think about that as far as sweeteners are concerned, because we all know we all have different experiences with the term artificial when it comes to sweetener, I think. First of all, what's natural sweetener? I guess sugar, right? Sugar. Right, sugar. Sugar. Cane sugar, usually, I think, of some refined sort. Yeah, no.
Anything that is coming from the ground that is not man-made.
Anything that comes from the ground that's not man-made
It is natural.
is natural. Okay.
Artificial is anything that is man or machine made.
Okay. What if it's made in space? What if it's an asteroid? Is that natural?
Then I'm not eating it because I can't afford to go to space yet.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you were talking specifically with sweetener. Thank you for circling me back up to the specific question. That was a tricky thing I just did there, changing the question on you midway through. You caught me, and that was intelligent of you. Good job. You win. You are intelligent.
Some
So they
days.
say. Someday when?
Some days.
Someday soon?
Some days I am.
Sundays. Why Sundays?
Because it's the only day I'm allowed to think. The rest of it, I think for everybody else.
Okay. Well, is that a good thing? Do you like thinking for other people? I do. Especially if I don't like what the other people normally think. Takes a lot of the uncertainty off of their unthinking becoming consequential to my day. Mama's happier. And we know when Mama's happier, everybody's done their job. So intelligence. Back to let's go. I got sidetracked again. Damn it. Obviously, I'm not very topically intelligent here. Well, intelligent maybe, but perhaps not persistent enough in maintaining the topic. So circling around back to the topic of intelligence. Intelligence. Like the intelligence to have my crotch in the camera shot and wonder why AI's gonna take it down. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-da.
Well, if it's AI, they would have enhanced on it.
Okay, insert drum roll there. It's actually, I'm sure AI's already done that for us if we watch the video later. Oh, keep going. Why did you stop?
Yeah,
Sorry.
you just said roll, not the whole thing.
Music. Why did you?
It's
You
doing
got
it
it,
on its own.
bro. It is 2025. We can't figure out a pause button.
No, it's still out of our computer.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Classic
telling you think, what do you expect? It doesn't think.
The most common error you'll see is that caused by human, but blamed on machine. Oh, as man walks out, and machine still lingers in room. All right, so far the music seems chipper, so it seems the machine is on our good graces. Wait, I'm looking at this whole okay, too many things going, too many laptops in front of me. Some of which are playing music, some of which are recording me. I forgot. Oh yeah, right on the board. That's why my ass got up.
Hey, it's not drop board, yay.
Why do you stop? All right. This is good. I mean, does it? Can we? Is it possible to be
It
segue?
does that play.
Huh?
It changes as a play.
According to what?
Change them.
What is changing?
As I play the game, it switches depending on
Oh,
what you're
okay,
doing.
okay. As you get to okay,
This is just the way you want music.
okay. Can we start it?
That's what I'm getting ready to do.
Okay, perfect. I mean,
Yeah, then play
as
that
nice as
one.
this music was, it would have been. It's the evolution of it that is what we're interested in. Did I spell intelligence right? That would be really hilarious if I did not. I did, right?
I don't know.
Correct. I spelled that correctly, right? Please tell me I did. I mean, can we like Google it or something? Come on. And tell. Speaking of it, come on, please. Do I have to do it?
Well, you gotta give my phone enough time for it
Uh,
to open up. My brain don't go
okay.
as fast as yours right now.
Sorry, that was unfair of
2
me.
seconds and I enough to tell if it's intelligent or not.
Right, I know. It's like kind of in a way my point. Not fuck. I do. I'm probably more guilty of it than anybody in the goddamn room. But there we go. I think I'm failing to account. I needed to mirror this. That's why it's not mirroring. That's why we all fucked up on this. Oh goodness. But at least we've diagnosed the root cause, intelligently.
So
All right. So,
ENT and EMC.
so,
I think it is.
so the answer is yes. Okay, thank you. Okay, sweet. All right, so can we like turn it down a little bit and advance the music? So I want to like actually start talking, not just stuck here. Thank you. Okay, so intelligence. What is intelligence? I mean, what does it mean? Can we like let's start attempting some answers here. So intelligence is what? It's knowledge, would you say? Feel free to like agree or disagree, please. Or say like fuck you, no.
The gain of knowledge, depending on what you're trying to learn, is intelligence.
What is it?
The gain of information, depending on what you're wanting to learn. It's intelligence and the retaining of it.
Okay. So act
The
with like
retaining of information, the gathering
acquiring,
of specific.
acquiring and retaining information.
Mhm.
But what's the last part of that sentence? Let me write that down. Part down.
Uh, Depending on the subject.
Depending on the subject. So you're not just
Some things you'll end up not getting, and some you won't. And then intelligence level pretty much rates the amount of information that you have stored on a specific subject
But you can
and
have
can
lots of,
remember it.
but you can have lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of information, but not be intelligent, though, right?
Nope. The more information you know, the more intelligent you get, depending on what subject you're at. Intelligence uh, is not one thing. Intelligence is pretty much your amount to remember certain things at a larger scale.
Remember,
Intelligence is not growth on just specific things. It's actually on what you know of that subject and how much far you can keep it.
okay, so retaining, yeah, we said that, yeah, acquiring, retaining, and I think something else in there, a big one I'm missing. I guess acquire. Wait, no, we got acquiring, retaining,
And performing.
and I guess finding more knowledge, discovering more
Yeah.
knowledge. Yeah, like the process of it all, not like the ecosystem of it all. I guess really. And another thing that struck me, with what you said, how your definition was, that is towards a goal. That intelligence, that the part of that definition has to be oriented to a goal. It has to be a task oriented thing. Is that would you agree with that, or because I'm kind of thinking about that myself, and I'm
Well,
intelligence. I
you
could,
gotta want to learn it before you can actually gain the intelligence to do it. Because if you don't want to learn it, you ain't gonna retain the knowledge.
but to want to learn it, you have to be interested in it, right? Like, you
Mm-hmm.
have to want to give a fuck. But how do you know whether to give a fuck about something if you don't know about it? So it is a little bit of a catch-22, isn't it? Because you don't know what you don't know sometimes, and you don't know what you don't give a fuck about.
That's why you should never, pretty much never turn something down because you never know what you're gonna get. It ain't your fault.
So I would say, like, based on that, that learning, or I should say intelligence,
Wanting to learn and not learning are two different things.
that's very true. Because it's actually very important, I think, to not learn things. If things turn out, though, if that material turns out to be complete bullshit, which is kind of my, a big, I guess my segue into kind of a. I mean, I think we're seeing this topic discussed all over the media and shit, YouTube and the news and all that. AI slop, which like really fucking started to depress me in the context of everything on the internet becoming shitty and fake and and basically not meaning, not have, basically be devoid of meaning. Like basically like, oh my God, it's a terrible thing to think about because I'm kind of thinking of like the sort of one of the most classic examples that we encounter in everyday life, at least queer men, bots on Grinder, talking like, having a conversation with an entity that you find out later on the other end is not even a real fucking person. I don't know, like I know I've talked about this basic topic like in a context of like how it scares the fuck out of me, like the idea of falling in love on that level. Falling in love with something that you find out later on is turned out to be some AI bot. And I'm sure like there's probably been by now been a movie or two done on this. Like, if nothing, in Westworld, of course, for me at least, really opened that a can of worms on that concept. They really spending time thinking about it. But let me go. Let's circle back around. I don't want to drift too far away from kind of defining our core term here, intelligence. So acquiring, gathering information for goals, but those goals could be ever changing. And part of intelligence is retasking yourself, learning new information and changing your goals. That's a big one. Altering the goal. The ability to realize that your goal is no longer valid. Does that make sense? It's kind of like it reminds me of what industries are going through right now in the energy. I've been thinking of it in the context of my professional life, but in the energy industry, as like, or basically just in any sort of utilities or service economy, or the classic example of the and what I'm talking about is basically this notion of evaluating quality. How are we evaluating things? how do we give somebody feedback, like but do so in a way that really like means something in the real world. Like I mean, I know it sounds kind of basic but like I'm thinking about it in the context of like bonus, when you work for a big, for a company and they have this whole like little formula designed to calculate your bonus at the end of a year. And like if the company did really well, how do we take that surplus we have, that pot of gold, and fairly distribute it among all of the thousands of employees we have here at this company? Or like, a mafia having mafia basically running away with a fucking safe, and then having a whole argument later about who gets the most gold, and the gunshot that the gun battle that ensues afterwards when we find out that our accountant's a lying crook. um no, but like, because it's that shit's important. Like what the things we measure, and like the metrics that we use, and like the goals, and like we think of, I think it's really funny, and myself included. I think it's almost like we live in a society that is not used to changing its goals. We are sort of taught to stick to our goals, to sort of stubbornly commit to something that we realize later we don't even know why the fuck we did in the first place. Like, people that start to go to the gym and like kind of lose interest in it. And mind you, there's a difference between like the energy or the interest in something declining over time or really fading away, versus having the blessing of that energy and that sort of power, and misharnessing it, um or worse of all, using it against yourself. Of power really being a sort of a sort of what's the word, like, I guess, suicidal, a kind of a self-defeating, if you will, uh gambits. So intelligence, back to intelligence. So, and like, again, I'm not using any, I could do the easy thing and just go on Google and look up what it tells me that intelligence means, and kind of give me more or less the accepted Merriam-Webster version of the, definition of the word intelligence. In fact, let's do that. We got to have some basis of comparison besides my bullshit. And Mystery Man off the screens bullshit, our collective bullshit. I probably occupy a lot more of it, of the bullshit part. There's nuggets of gold there if you dig, though, especially when you have a sexy, mysterious voice off stage.
Giant nugget, bro.
Oh, you okay? Thank you. Um, well, I don't even need. What am I even doing with this computer open? This is getting into total like. You see, too many screens. Here I am, kind of falling. Here's a perfect example of a metric that is completely divorced from any like meaning and any sort of productive meaning in reality. This kind of joke that the more computer screens that you have at your desk, the more productive you're being. And I mean, God golly, if that doesn't seem like one of the funniest things that we convince ourselves of. At least I don't know. Maybe not really, maybe not really, but I think in the back of our heads a little bit. At least me, even. Oh,
Intelligence, the person who gathers or reports gathers or wait, no, that's right. They're doing it as a sentence though.
what is it? Wait, well, whose definition of
Talent, they're giving me a bunch of intelligence, and then they're doing intelligencer,
But I just want to know,
which is
like,
like the
what's the
noodle.
definition? What does it mean? That's the thesaurus. Yeah, you're in the thesaurus function, I think.
No, I'm in AI crap. I'm getting out of the AI.
Oh God. Well, that's kind of ironic, isn't it? So, anyways, as we struggle to discover on the humans here what intelligence truly is, let's have AI answer that question for us. Oh Lord and Jesus, we're doomed.
Google has AI do everything for you, unfortunately.
Hey, you can disable that shit, baby.
Why
Not that I
explain?
have.
Why explain with some of the words that we put?
There we go. But no, no, no. I don't
Intelligence
think.
is the capacity for acquiring and applying knowledge and skills. It encompass various cognitive abilities such as reasoning, problem solving, planning, abstract thinking, comprehension of complex ideas, learning from experience, and adapting it to new skills and situations. While there are different theories and models of intelligence,
Okay, that's that. I don't need that. Yeah, okay, but
it generally refers to mental ability to learn, understand, and apply information effectively.
right. Okay, yeah, and I think you said that pretty
This
much.
time was right.
I think you covered that in your definition. You were pretty spot on in your definition. Like the thing that sticks out right now, the adaptability part, and I think that's kind of that goes with like being, I guess, being outside enough of your bubble to like be conscious and aware of. But see, you know what? We have to kind of limit the definition of intelligence. It might not include awareness. You can be intelligent and unaware, right? Or does intelligence imply a certain level of awareness, like self-awareness, for instance? Anyways, let's not get too deep on that because now we have to apply the term artificial to the term intelligence, okay? And in order to do that, I think you have to sort of distinct like what is it's kind of like with the sugar example, like, oh my god, this is such an awkward position in the chair here. No, but we have to like distinguish what is artificial intelligence, what makes a certain framework of intelligence artificial versus real.
Ones and zeros.
I mean, intelligence is something, I don't know, like, is there a such thing as organic intelligence? Is there such thing as, like, how do we even like grasp what is considered artificial? Like, because I mean, when I look at when I look today at the things that are discussed and under the hashtag of artificial intelligence, I see shit that I think in the back of my mind, like TurboTax did this. TurboTax from 1995. You could lump into the category of what is considered AI in some definitions. All right. When you talk to some people about that, and let's be clear here on what like it, you know and I'm hesitating to use intelligence because we just kind of pounded the fuck out of that word to death. So let's use the concept of, I mean, kind of to the AI concept, like basically the ability to learn. That's the key.
Learn and
TurboTax didn't learn from you, but it did have processes that you applied. I mean, there was the application part, but not the learning part, not the self improvement part. Not that's there's a self there's sort of a self correct, or I should say self correcting loop, but a self reinforcing loop that sort of sustains that. You learn you know that's yeah. Anyway, and learning. Oh yeah, learning. I mean, that's an open field. I mean, and goddamn, you mentioned something key. What not to learn. That's going to be more and more important. I swear to God, in the next 10 years, that's going to be the most important question we kind of face. What information to completely like, because there's weaponized misinformation out there. Obviously, I mean, you look no further than Donald Trump's Twitter feed to find out. It's just, I mean, that's only the most fucking obvious forms of it on the internet. I mean, you have people that are actually good at that game and getting away with, well, anyways, tangents, political woof aside. Beep, beep, beep. Yeah, self reinforcement through learning process, and then sort of like here's a big one, and like I talk about this a lot in my other segments about humility, and I'm talking about this in the context of intelligence, meaning knowing when you're wrong, knowing when a goal or a task path in your processes are fatal, or at least or when they sort of undermine your core objective. Because I mean, that's a process. I mean, there's a hierarchy to processes. There's an objective. I mean, what you're talking about with learning. Um, Implies a goal, and a goal implies there's always hierarchies of sort of what defines you, and that would be true with the case of intelligence. I mean, and I'm gonna cut it short here because we're getting the little wink wink nudge nudge from the library stuff up there closing down soon. So
15 minutes.
yes, 15 minutes, but let's look at the comments. I don't know if anybody's watching on it. Let's see. Here's two comments. Something has changed. Hey Mike, Angela, nice to see you, darling. Thank you for the first comments of this Open Mic Live series. So I kind of just like opened up a lot of like questions, I guess, in exploring intelligence and what's artificial about it. What's the difference between the intelligence of TurboTax versus the intelligence of a human brain? Like what's how can both of those things be in the same label? Um, yeah, and I kind of left a lot. Yeah, we didn't really shit. That's what this is definitely one of those debates or discussions where we kind of just sprang up lots of questions, and it kind of reminds me of the quote I was talking that one of my favorite quotes um from an old I think Egyptian mathematician. You can tell a man is clever by his answers. You can tell a man is wise by his questions. And goddamn, we have to think about that big time in our discourse because too often we shit, I mean, too often we fall for the fall. We sort of fall victim. We get sucker. We get played by this sort of concept of the two-party system. This sort of like left versus right duopoly in our culture. I mean, it's not even just in our politics. It's like kind of like poison its way into our culture and how like we choose to hang out with people, which people we choose to hang out with, and like which opinions to validate and which opinions to like completely write off as bullshit because that's part of the important part too is rejecting bullshit. But and this is kind of where I would argue the concept of intelligence really comes relevant for us as a society is in this sort of this age of limitless information where floods of information and data from who the fuck knows where. What is junk data? What is meaningful information? What is fake and what is real? What is real? What is real information versus fake? What is organic intelligence versus artificial intelligence versus just intelligence being something that is not labeled at all artificial because artificial implies some sort of sense of complete man that it was completely man-made, that there was no that this was man-made in a nat in a vacuum from nature. Mankind is part of nature. And that's kind of the interesting part of this age that we live in, the Anthropocene, meaning this age where humankind collectively control more of the Earth's processes than the Earth, than our natural. That's a that's a compelling thought. And humankind as an intelligence, if you will, we've made some big fuck ups. And part of what is going to define our generation, if you want to call it intelligence, is how we learn, how we admit when we're wrong, how we adapt, how we heal, and how we move on, and how we rebuild. I know it's a lot to like unpack, but like that, those are the series of steps that I think our country's going to go through as we wrestle not only with artificial intelligence, but the intelligence of our own fucking country. So my fellow Americans, our fellow Americans, we all here in this damn library, if nothing else, this publicly funded wonderful place. um, I implore you to, to think what is intelligence. And don't fall into the trap of handing out trophies to people with 1600 SAT scores. That's not intelligence. That's memorizing facts and knowing what they're going to ask you on the test. Dazzle me a little bit, bitches. That's intelligence, in a form, Make me fucking laugh. That's humor is a big form of intelligence, one that I didn't even touch on really. But y'all are intelligent people, and you know,
Just get nowhere far, but it doesn't mean you're intelligent.
as a class valedictorian turned homeless guy on the street will tell you, it's not about your fucking A's or F's or 1600s that define being successful in intelligence. It's it's the ability to gain information, open your eyes, open your ears,
Anyway,
and shut your fucking mouth and listen. and change, admit when you're wrong, and adapt to somebody to, accept the fact that maybe, God forbid, that that annoying little cunt there is correct and you're not, and move on and learn and heal, and don't use that word I used just 10 minutes ago, kids. All right. Live, coming at you live from the Columbus Metropolitan Library in Study Room 9A, Studio F in Rockefeller Center. Nope. Still the Columbus Metropolitan Library. Just kidding. In Columbus, Ohio on Wednesday, the 10th of September, 2025, in the non-Oprah universe after David. This has been Mike George, and
Ooh, tastes like vanilla.
wherever you find yourselves this evening, you know, be smart, be good to yourselves, take care of yourselves, and take care of somebody else. Even somebody's
Please.
not intelligent as you.
Well, that's already fun.
Beep boop beep beep boop beep boop.